Morning, guys. Gabe, Eltaeb, BigManComics.com. I had a great weekend. I hope you guys are all doing good. Are you getting used to the daylight savings time? Last week was a little weird. It was one of the first times I ever really noticed that. Since I do work for myself, I can wake up when I want to. I am pretty responsible. I wake up usually at 7:30, get out of bed at probably fall back asleep. I get out of bed by 8:30, basically. But yeah, I don't. That's one thing that I wasn't good at when I was younger as an artist. There were years I would get up at 10 or 11, and I would always feel so disappointed for getting up so late. It was awful. And then you have lunch, and if you have to run an errand and do this, that, sometimes by the time you get to work, it's 2, 3 in the afternoon. It's a horrible cycle to get into. But for whatever reason, I got out of it, and years ago. I hope you had a good weekend, Gabe. Mine was great. I saw Dean. Oh, I saw I saw you post that online that you went to some Comic-Con or something like that and got to meet him. Was that the first time that you've ever met him, or was that had you hung out with him before? Or yeah, I saw you post something about that. I wasn't sure what it was, but no, it was we famously have fantastic weather here in Southern California. So we've been not feeling the chill of winter much at all lately for the last month or so. And it's just gorgeous blue skies and everything. So we went around. I went all over on Saturday with my wife and my had a good time. Had a great time yesterday. I went up to Orange County. That's about an hour north of where I live. Orange County is it's a Republican stronghold in Southern California. It is the neighboring county to Los Angeles. Los Angeles is a liberal shithole. And when you literally when you're driving up the 5 freeway from San Diego to LA, you have to drive through Orange County, and it's a wonderland. It's endless wealth. It's good looking people who are in shape, wearing fancy clothes, driving expensive cars. You should look it up. It's crazy how beautiful Orange County is. It's a big place, lots of cities, Newport Beach, Laguna Beach, Irvine, all that stuff. Orange County is an ideal place to live. It's really gorgeous. And San Diego is very similar. San Diego and Orange County are very similar places. Absolutely beautiful and lots of wealth and success because people are not liberal weirdo dummies that don't know how to succeed in anything. Went up there, went to just one of the best restaurants I've ever been to in my life. I've been to this restaurant just twice now, but it's an outstanding restaurant right on the tracks at an old train station. It's like a 100-year-old train station or something like that. It's called Trevor's on the Tracks at in San Juan Capistrano. San Juan Capistrano is a beautiful little town. It's where the San Juan Capistrano mission, the Catholic mission, was built there, whatever, 100 or like 200 years ago or whenever they built it. I don't know when they built it, but it's quite old, for all the Spanish missions. I think California has 22 Spanish missions. But Kara's talking about meeting Dean this weekend at some comic convention. Where was that, Kira? I didn't know where he was this weekend. Was that like in Indiana or Illinois or something over there? Because aren't you a Detroiter? Aren't you part of the in the Motor City? So I'm just wondering how far you had to go. Like, did you have to fly to this convention or did you just drive over there? What's the deal? Indiana Comic-Con. I'm not too familiar with Indiana and all that. I wonder, let me look at a map really quick. And here, this is page 64 of the Unstoppable Tyrus. This morning for an hour, I finished up page 63. I just quit working Friday night. And then I decided, I usually work on Saturdays too and get another page done, but I was just like, I'm taking the whole weekend off. So I took Saturday and Sunday off. I usually always take Sundays off, but I took Saturday off too. I've been working too much lately. Too many things going on. Looking at a map here. Oh, Indiana is not. Oh, okay. So it's right by Detroit. I'm looking at Detroit on a map here. Yeah, I don't go back east, so I don't really know the geography very well off the top of my head. So what part of Indiana was this Indiana Comic-Con? Kalamazoo. What a weird name for a city. South Bend. Oh, that's where the horrible Notre Dame is. Yeah. Yeah, never been there. Never been to the quote-unquote Midwest, which is the most stupidly named part of the country because it's the Mideast. It is the middle of the eastern half of the country. It's named exactly backwards. It's the Mideast. Oh, I've been to the Midwest twice because I've been to Chicago twice. Chicago, didn't like it. Drove to my mom's in Kokomo, and we went to Indianapolis with the Commonwealth. Now, why do the Beach Boys, who might be my favorite band, it's the Beach Boys or Huey Lewis and the News. Why do the Beach Boys have that song about going down to the Caribbean on a beautiful vacation with a woman to have a wonderful time way down in Kokomo? And Kokomo's actually in the frozen hell of Michigan. I want an answer from the Beach Boys. Did they just like the way that Kokomo sounded? Is that what it is? Way down in Kokomo. Because if you went to the real Kokomo, aren't you going to freeze? So I need answers from the Beach Boys. It's a great song. Bermuda, Bahama, come on pretty mama, Key Largo, Montego, baby, why don't we go to the Kokomo? We'll get there fast and we'll take it slow. That sounds amazing. Getting somewhere fast and then taking it slow, that does sound awesome. But Kokomo is nowhere near where you want to be for the tropics. So yeah, Kara, do you know, since your mother lives in Kokomo, do you know why the Beach Boys did that? I'll end up asking Grok, the AI. Grok is better than Google. You have to use Grok. It is it's amazing. But I will find out why the Beach Boys chose a city in the frozen north to represent a tropical paradise in the Caribbean. Don't know. Guys, hit the like, hit the share. Get everybody in here. I'm drawing on an Apple iPad Pro that is about 3 years old, 3.5 years old. I don't need a new one. Apple really overpowered their stuff there, like in 2021, 2022. You can have a like 2020 or 2021 MacBook Pro, and the thing is completely like butt kicking even today. Like it's really insane. I have a year-old Mac Studio computer, and I doubt I'll have to replace it for the better part of a decade because of how amazing the processing in it is, how good it works, the amount of memory that I got in it. But yeah, I'm an Apple guy. Don't know why any of you use Windows. It is a vastly inferior product. Sorry, it just is. It just is. It just is. And let's see. Kara says, I don't know why they chose Kokomo. There's also Santa Claus Indian. I've heard of that. NFL quarterback Jay Cutler, he played for the Bears, but he played for the Denver Broncos first. He played at Vanderbilt University. He was from Santa Claus, Indiana. Also with Hell, Michigan, and Paradise, Michigan. Okay, Hell, Michigan. So there you go. Some real wiseacres live in Hell, Michigan, huh? I need to know why the Beach Boys made it Kokomo. But here we just had, a great postcard-worthy Southern California weekend. I do feel sorry for all the people that hate California and they say they'll never step foot here. Like you don't know what you're missing. The horrible liberal government and blah, 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 blah affected me 0% yesterday as I went around in beautiful blue skies and like 70-degree weather and went to gorgeous historical places and ate food that you could only dream they have where you live. That California cuisine, that gourmet, like casual bistro, it's my favorite kind of food. There was a chain restaurant here that was also a brewery called Karl Strauss Brewery, and there's just a handful of them left, but there were a lot more back going to the 90s. I think the lockdowns got Karl Strauss and shut down some of their restaurants, but it's that California bistro style where it's really good ingredients and really great preparation and presentation. And, it's not cheap, but it's an experience. It's delicious. Kara says, Hell, Michigan is about 20 minutes from where I live, and Paradise is in the Upper Peninsula. Is the Upper Peninsula that part that's disconnected from the rest of Michigan? So you could go from Hell to Paradise or vice versa in one day. Yeah, no thanks. I'm going to pass. Let's see. I'm looking at there's Mackinac City. Oh, weird. Okay, so there's that Upper Peninsula that's like connected to Wisconsin, but it's actually part of Michigan. This whole thing doesn't make sense. I don't know what's going on there in the Midwest. I don't know what you people are doing up there. Is it cold? Are people nut jobs, Kara, because it's cold? I lived in Colorado, and Colorado's not nearly as mountainous or cold as people think. Now, while it does have the Great Rocky Mountains, nobody lives there. No one lives in the Rocky Mountains, really. You got a few cities up there. You got ski bums and, ski resort people, but everyone lives to the east of the mountains on what is known as the Front Range. That's where everyone lives in Colorado. You can live in the foothills of it, just like in Boulder and stuff like that. It's beautiful, but people don't live in the mountains. And what you don't know about Colorado is it's not cold. It's not cold and snowy there. Not really. It'll snow a couple times in the winter, sure, but the snow is gone in 24 hours. The snow is melted and gone, and it's back to, the streets are dry, and it is the driest state in the nation. Like the climate there is the driest. So if you go there, you will be like chapstick and lotion and all that, or your skin's just going to get white and ashy, as the brothers say, and then you'll get used to it. But it is a stark difference from living here right next to the ocean. So Jose Taco says, hi, Michigan traded Toledo, Ohio for the Upper Peninsula. We got the better deal. Yeah, I don't know. I've got the San Diego and coastline, so we got the best deal out here. I am a bragger about California. I am not humble about how beautiful it is here. Sorry. It ain't bragging if it's true, I guess. Took me years to come around to California because I was from Colorado, and I identified my pronouns. My preferred pronouns were I'm a Coloradan. And I thought that, and then I just realized at some point that I'd lived in California the vast majority of my life and not Colorado. And Colorado is a place where I was from, but not my home, not a place where I grew up, and not the place where I met my wife, had most of my kids and, made my career and was influenced. And I just realized I may have been born in Colorado, but I'm a Californian through and through, for sure. And proud of it. Proud of it. For the 5 Great Lakes, prefer Michigan. Well, since we're already talking about Kokomo and the Beach Boys, we do have California girls. Okay, Carrie, you're a girl. You've told me such, but you're not a California girl. Now, my wife is a California girl. My daughter's a California girl. My granddaughter, I wish they all could be California girls. How do non-California women feel about that song? They're not so great, or do they just let it go, or does it kind of bother them? Because I have a suspicion, as non-serious as this question or topic is, that this is the kind of thing that irks women a little bit. Like, what do they got that we don't got? I think that that's true on a silly level, not on a life and death level, but like on a silly level. I think it is true. How does it feel? Because there is no, I wish they could all be Michigan girls. Does that make Michigan people mad? Because I've wondered. I asked my wife about it. I'm like, well, as a California girl, do you like the song? She's like, well, yes, of course. Kara says, I let it go. It's a great song. It doesn't bother me at all. That's what someone who it was bothering would say, I think. No, just kidding. Men are not that way, I don't think. But I think it would bother women, like a 1 out of 10. No, not really bothering, but like in a silly way bother them. So I guess I could see it. I don't know. But he does have the line in that song, the Midwest farmers' daughters really make you feel all right. And the northern girls, with the way they something, I forgot what the something is, with the way they something, keep their boyfriends warm at night. That's not bad. He didn't say they were all ugly, so that's something. However, we're not all farmers' daughters. Yeah, well, dare to dream. How was the Indiana Comic-Con? Like, you met Dean there. Was it? I haven't done a lot of Comic-Cons outside of the biggest one in the world, the San Diego Comic-Con, which is my favorite because it's my town and it is the biggest, most prestigious one. Was that thing packed, or were the crowds light, or how are those other shows? Because I've been to the Chicago convention once, and I've been to LA, and that's about it. I haven't been to New York or the Heroes Con in South Carolina. It's supposed to be a big deal. And there was Emerald City Comic Con in Seattle. I think that was a week or two ago, actually, though. Yeah, I think that one passed. But yeah, I need to start doing more of these. And I was just curious, how was it there with meeting old Dino again? I would like to know, because I think I do want to do more of these. I think I do. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But no, it was nicest weekend I've had in a while. Very relaxing. I have been grinding way too hard. Have been working way too much. It's hard to keep the I don't want to call it fear or anxiety, but just that, like, oh, I gotta work, I gotta work, I gotta get it done. It's hard to learn to work at a normal pace because I haven't really most of my career. I've always worked at a very let's get her done kind of pace, and I want to get away from that because I don't think psychologically that's good. Meeting Dean again was great. He signed my copy of All American Lemon. Oh, cool. That's awesome. That is awesome. We will be working on a second volume of that sooner or later. Got to finish this book. Got to finish my science fiction book. I got to rewrite Dean Cain Volume 2. Um, when I write, that's that saying in writing is rewriting, right? So, although I've written the Dean Cain book, I think Volume 2, I've written it 3 times. I still have to rewrite it again. I have some other ideas. I didn't like this. I thought there were too many characters. There were a lot of bad guys. I realized after I read it the last time that I think I read it. So I have to rewrite it again. I'm going to take two of the bad guys out because I realized the concept I had with them. That's a whole other book. So and when you hear that, if you're not a writer, that's not a mistake. That's not a problem. That's the process of writing. It's like imagine polishing a diamond. It's very similar to that, right? You get a gemstone out of the ground and it's nice, but it's got flaws. It's got other minerals and things attached to it and things that don't belong there, things that you don't want. But you don't know till you know. So you write and you rewrite and that's how it's like a sketch for a drawing. You lay out a sketch and it's not correct, but it's getting correct. It's getting there. So yeah, we'll be working on that this spring, but I've got 2 other books I'm committed to first. So I need to focus on those. That's one thing that's a little hard sometimes because when you're very creative and your brain's percolating and you have all these ideas, you're working on one thing and you're kind of thinking of the other. And you got to keep your eyes on the road. You got to keep your eyes on what you're doing. So that's a bit of a challenge sometimes to like, ooh, I want to do this, but I'm committed to, still in the middle of working on XYZ. So that's something that, you just have to push through. But yeah, I hope that we're able to have a good time making that one. And it is fun, the experience of learning to make this stuff completely by myself. Because as my own publishing house, at least, I'm still collaborating with other artists that I hire to help maybe draw it or lay it out or color it or whatever. But it is interesting to be in charge of the operation, and it's a learn as you go thing. It is definitely a learn. You do some things, like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. But that the only way to learn is to make the mistakes or do the things that didn't work out exactly the way you wanted. And then you're able to reflect and go, okay, well, that sort of worked, but here's a reason why we could have done it better or why that didn't work. And that's just it. There's always going to be the peanut gallery in life where they criticize you or mock you or whatever. But it's like, you can't let that get to you. You can't let that bother. And you just think to yourself, well, what has this person ever done? There's a reason they sit on the peanut gallery and criticize because they're a coward and a loser and they're too afraid to try anything themselves. And if they tried like you, they'd do the same thing you did. They'd make they'd have some victories, they'd have some failures and successes. And it's all good. That's the process. That is the process. But it is laughable to see the peanut gallery just sitting there critiquing people when you'd love to see what they've ever done, right? So, Henry Thune, hail Gabe, hail Henry Thune. Kara said the con itself was great. This is the Indiana con this weekend where she met with Dean Cain, the collaborator, my conspirator on Dean Cain All American Lawman, along with Aiken. Not too crowded, mostly student lines all day, just over 2 hours for Dean, but he's worth it. Also met Paige O'Hara, the voice of Belle in Beauty and the Beast. Oh, Beauty and the Beast from the great 90s Disney Renaissance. That is in my opinion, the best era of Disney animation, even surpassing the great stuff from the 50s and 60s, which is excellent stuff. The stuff in the 50s and 60s is absolutely excellent. But I prefer the 90s era, and it's only 4 movies. It's 4 movies. It is The Little Mermaid in 1989. And then after that, you get Beauty and the Beast, right? Like in 91 or something. And then you get Aladdin, and then you get The Lion King. And that is the greatest time in the history of Disney animation. You have other amazing stuff. Sleeping Beauty, 101 Dalmatians, Robin Hood, even the little one with the dogs. What the hell is that one called? What's the one with the dogs? With Copper? Oh, what the hell is that? I don't remember the name of that one. But yeah, that's the greatest period for Disney animation is the late 80s, early 90s Renaissance. Henry Thune, I never saw Aladdin. I thought Beauty and the Beast was next level. Henry Thune, Aladdin is a literal Oscar-winning movie. Robin Williams won an Oscar for being the genie. It's one of their best movies. I've seen Aladdin 1,000 times. Go see it. Now, don't watch any of the new Disney movies or the woke crap. Or they do those ugly live-action movies. I'm not sure why they do those. Animation is far superior to acting in the context of, hey, this is Disney. So I'm not sure why they thought they needed live-action versions. I mean, I think I know because it's cheap and it's a way to cash in. That feels like just a business decision to me. It's much cheaper to do a live-action Aladdin starring your favorite Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which just looks... My friend saw that and told me it was terrible. I said, why did you watch it? You couldn't tell it was terrible from the commercials? Like, I could. I thought it was pretty self-evident that that's awful. All of those. The Angelina Jolie, where she's the Sleeping Beauty villain Maleficent. You could just tell those are horrible movies. You could just, Disney is about animation. That's what it should be about. And it should be about hand-drawn animation. Even if it's digital, like what I'm doing right here on an iPad, this is still hand-drawn. This is still a pressure-sensitive pencil, just like a real-life pen or pencil. So this is hand-drawn. It's fine if they hand-draw it on a digital, like, Wacom screen or whatever. You can, as I'm drawing this, you can see that I'm employing actual drawing technique, that I'm not, using the computer to do the drawing for me or anything like that. And there's really no such thing as that. I mean, there's AI stuff, but everyone can smell that a mile away. You can see an AI illustration, just tell, oh, they didn't draw that. That's AI. It just has an AI look. And I think the AI illustrations are valid for little things like YouTube thumbnails, stuff that is, in my opinion, inconsequential, But if I'm drawing a comic book or whatever, like, no, you're not allowed to do that, in my opinion. I mean, you're legally allowed to do it, but not, and like ethically, artistically, you shouldn't do that, And it's like, who wants to? The fun of drawing is drawing, right? The fun of it is actually doing it. So, Henderson, I shouldn't watch Aladdin with Will Smith. No, never. The Fox and the Hound, my wife and Hardy Harmonica remind me. That's what it's called. Yeah, no. When Disney made great animation, no one did it better. When they made family entertainment, no one did it better. And yes, 101 Dalmatians is gorgeous. Like, if you're a lover of illustration and animation, the old Disney stuff it's beautiful. It's breathtaking how great it is. So. But yeah, that Disney Renaissance, and I would even throw a bonus Disney movie in that I think is a masterpiece that was not part of the early 90s Renaissance. It was 99. It was the very end of the 90s. Tarzan. That is outstanding. That's a great one. It's gorgeous. But then Disney, they fell off. They went into the woke 2000s, and they also did it, not even woke, but they did a lot of work where you're just like, who cares? They did a lot of stuff where it's like, who cares about this? And that's almost worse than being bad, is being inconsequential. I do a lot of movie review. Like Wednesday night, I do an improv comedy movie review show, and we review 80s and 90s movies we love, and we add a lot of improv comedy to it. Me and my partner Jericho Green. But we love doing horrible movies because they're fun to make fun of with the improv comedy. But I'll review a horrible movie, and I actually love doing the horrible movies if they're the concept of it's so bad it's good, where they're horrible movies, but they're really funny because how bad and stupid they are. But the worst way a movie can be is horrible and boring, where you can't even watch it because it's so boring. It's not even bad enough to make fun of it. It's so amateurish and poorly written and boring that you're just like, it's like it's like sitting in line at the DMV is what watching it feels like. Those are truly the worst movies. They couldn't even be bad correctly. So, Henderson, it sounds like Mystery Science Theater. Oh, yeah, we do great improv comedy. We do all kinds of voices. We have special guest stars. Hulk Hogan's always on the show. Barney the Dinosaur comes on the show. It's if you've ever seen like Comedy Bang Bang, or whose line is it anyway? We do a ton of improv like that, and it's both something we're pretty good at. So we enjoy that a lot. But we talk about the movies, how much we like them, but then we just make up all kinds of nonsense while we're watching the movie. So, and I don't really know where it came from. It just happened organically. We were here just to talk about 80s and 90s entertainment that we loved because we both grew up in that era, and the comedy just sprang forth. So, but yeah, it's a hoot. That's Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific. And we go long sometimes. We went 5 hours this last week. We didn't mean to. We did The Princess Bride, which I came around on. I thought it was okay. By the time we reviewed it and I was a little more fair to it and stuff, I gave it a higher grade. I didn't give it my highest rating of a movie, but I gave it the next highest. It's like, no, that's a good movie. Double Impact is so much fun, Kara says. See, Henryton, you got to tune in for Double Impact. It's a hoot. And sometimes we have special guests. Occasionally we'll have on Dean Superman Cain is on a couple times a year. And our buddy Matthew Marsden, he's also another actor. He was in Black Hawk Down and Rambo and all that. He'll come on a couple times a year too. It's fun. And they'll give us insight about actually how movies and acting and all that works. So yeah, we have a good time. So yeah, that's the thing I've always liked to do is improv comedy. I didn't know it was an art and and all that. I just naturally did it from a very young age. I remember being about 8 years old and getting a hold of a tape deck, and my mom had a tape of Gladys Knight and the Pips that I found, and I just recorded over it. And I made up this guy, and it was basically Beetle Bailey, the newspaper strip. He was an idiot private in the army who was always getting in trouble with Sarge. And I would just do little skits on there. And I even did Foley. Foley is the sound effect in radio and movies. So I remember there was a pie eating contest, and because I had found some empty pie tins in the kitchen, and I just put them next to the speaker, clang, 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 clang. And I don't remember what the jokes were in this particular episode, but I remember doing the Foley art. And no one had told me about that. I just kind of made up the concept myself that, if I bang these metal pie pans, it's going to sound like a big pie eating contest. It was a team of competitive eaters who were all big fat guys was in the story I had made up that day. And yeah, I just love improving. I don't know. I think it's fun. So I don't know. I've always been a bit of a storyteller. That's why I do what I do here, right? Because I mean, I'm not just doing the ink illustration on this. I wrote this, collaborated with Tyrus a little bit. I mean, but I wrote, 90% of what this is or more. He came up, he told me his concept. And I'm talking about Tyrus, the great Fox News guy. And again, he's he's on that wavelength like I am too. Tyrus is a fantastic improv comedian. He can just puts out like there's a topic, there's something being talked about, and bang, he just says something funny about it. And I love having that skill, and I admire people that have it, and he's great at it. And my friend Jericho he's outstanding at doing improv comedy. So yeah, we love doing that. And yeah, we just do that for fun. We just do that for the love of the game. We just do that for fun. So yeah, make sure you're subscribed and you tune in for that, because that's a hoot, as they say. I follow Matthew Marsden. He was in Transformers. Yeah, he was in like Resident Evil, Transformers, Rambo, Oscar-winning Black Hawk Down. He was in that one. And a good dude. I've hung out with him personally, privately with my wife and him. We were at a movie premiere and then hung out the next day for like 4 hours and just had such a great engaging conversation. He's a very intelligent guy and a very thoughtful guy too. So yeah, he comes with my highest recommendation as a human being. He's a good dude. But yeah, Henry said I have to take my son to youth group Wednesday nights. I'll have to watch some. Yeah, I leave the streams up. I don't take the lives down. A lot of people take the lives down because of the YouTube algorithm or whatever. YouTube doesn't like people doing live streams because YouTube likes videos that they can slam commercials into because hey, it's a business. I get it. So when you do live streams, it's not as fun for them. They do get a taste on the super chats, but I think they make more from recorded videos. So they can punish you for doing live streams by taking subscribers away from you. I think the way it works is if someone's subscribed to your channel and they haven't watched in a few weeks or months, YouTube will just unsubscribe them without asking. And then the person will be later like, hey, they unsubbed me from your channel. And I noticed when you do a live stream, occasionally that'll happen. You'll lose 1 or 2 followers like within minutes of the live stream. pretty consistently. You can ask anyone that does YouTube. That's a pretty consistent nice little feature YouTube has built into what we're doing here. So it kind of stinks because you're like, you don't want me to do live streams, but yet you offer live streams. So like, why do you offer a thing and then punish me for using it? But, I guess, they want to put commercials in. Now, they do have a feature where I could turn it on, but I turned it on by accident once. And you can run commercials during your live stream. That's insane because the live stream doesn't tell me, the broadcaster. It doesn't tell me, hey, currently there's a commercial running. So I'm just going and going and going. And then people in the chat are like, hey, dude, a commercial just came up and I missed everything you said. We could do commercials live if it would tell me on the screen, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you're going to commercial. Then I could do it like, the Tonight Show with Jay Leno. I guess I'm dating myself there by saying Jay Leno because this isn't Jimmy Fallon now. I like the Tonight Show with Jay Leno. I used to watch that in high school. I was not an insomniac when I was a senior in high school, but I was going through a lot of stuff when I was in high school, and I had trouble going to sleep. I don't anymore. That's something I didn't even realize, but I don't have the trouble going to sleep anymore that I did for most of my life. Once adolescence, puberty hits in and your brain does change a little bit to more what it's going to be when you're an adult. And I had more anxiety, I believe, once I was 12, 13, 14, not as happy, and I couldn't sleep correctly. And I was always up till like 2 a.m. before I finally would fall asleep from being exhausted. And I think I'm realizing only like in the last 2-3 years do I actually go to sleep like a normal person now. And I can actually go to bed at 9:30 or 10 and be asleep within an hour or so, which is good for me because it used to be hours of laying there, and just not being able to sleep. It was terrible. And then you wake up all, tired the next day because you still have to get up early for school or work or whatever, and you're not getting any sleep. But it started when I was a senior in high school, actually. So I guess I was 17, not as young as 12 or 13. And I would watch the Tonight Show and I would watch Conan O'Brien, and Conan O'Brien wouldn't come on till 12:30. So that thing was over at 1:30. So I was going to bed at like 2 something every night when I was a senior in high school. And then, getting up for school, I think school was at 7:30. So I was late to school so many times as a senior. I missed class like 40 days when I was a senior. It was terrible. It's not a good time. Not a good time, but it's one of those things where you're young and you don't know any better and you're really going through something awful and you don't know how awful it is. You know what I mean? So melatonin healthy sleep. Yeah, I've heard mixed things on that. I've heard that there can actually be some, I'm not a doctor, some health downsides to doing too much of that stuff. What I have found, some great advice I found, Scott Adams, the great commentator and comedian, comic strip author and illustrator, he said if you go to bed and you can't sleep and you're not tired, he's all that means you didn't exercise enough that day. And I think about that a lot, like, oh yeah, I tried to go for 2 walks a day, like around lunch and then after dinner, about 1.5 mile walk twice a day. That's good. That's 3 miles a day. And I lift weights 4 times a week. So I do try to get tired so I can sleep. That does help. And I used to think caffeine didn't affect me, but then I realized, you're up late all the time, so maybe it did affect you somewhat. So I do try to watch that too. Try not to have too much caffeine late at night. Because I've always had coffee or diet soda or whatever, and I never felt like more awake or anything like that. I never felt like caffeine did much for me. I just liked the way coffee tastes, but it didn't like wake me up in the morning or anything like that. So who knows? But the melatonin stuff, I got interested in it because I heard people use it to sleep. And then I read a bad report about it. And I was like, I don't know. I need to do more research. I like Warren Buffett's advice for life. His investing advice, I apply it to life. He says, I don't get involved in anything I don't understand. And if that doesn't mean the thing is bad. I just want to understand it before I get involved in it. So Henry Thune says, I never drink caffeine anymore. I used to every day. He also says, I've heard people say that if you take melatonin, it's harder to produce your own. See, that's what I was thinking. Like testosterone, right? If you take steroids, then your balls are going to shrink because your body's like, well, it doesn't need to make testosterone. I'm getting plenty from these shots or whatever. So I thought that I read the same thing about melatonin, where if you're taking it, then your body might back off on making it. So, yeah. So yeah, that's why I was like, but for whatever reason, without even noticing, it's so funny how things happen in life and you don't even realize they've happened. And that because I only realized that I sleep normally 10 minutes ago when I told it to you guys. That was you were watching me have a life realization right there that, oh, I don't toss and turn until 2 in the morning, like I did every night from the time I was 16 till I was like 40 years old or something. I'm 46 now, but um yeah, until just, just a few years ago, it was so hard to go to bed. But I think I've been getting up at 7:30 on an early day for me, and 9 o'clock is like, whoa, I slept in. Like 9 a.m. as I slept in, and I rarely do anything like that. Like today, I was awake at 7:30. And that, if you know me, that's like, what? If you knew me my whole life, like, wow, that's early. And I don't know. I know a lot of artists are night owls. I wonder if there's some sort of certain psychology about being an artist. Because so many of the artists I know, they're like, Pablo Picasso and those guys, famously, they didn't start, work till 3, 4 in the afternoon. And I was like that at the beginning of my career. I would start way in the afternoon a lot of times. And it's really upsetting and disappointing. It's like, here's the whole day is gone and you're just getting started. And other people getting tired and winding down, and kids are coming home from school. And you're like, yeah, I just started working a minute ago. So I like the term Cadillacing for when you're being, like I always think of Cadillacing when you're running the bases in baseball. Like you hit a home run and you're going to rub it in the pitcher's face. So you're going to run really slow. To me, that's Cadillacing around the bases. And that's kind of what I do when I wake up, though, because I'll get out of bed at 8 or 8:30. I won't go into my office until 9 at the earliest to get to work, though. So I will take a full hour breakfast, and I'm sitting there and I checking Twitter and watching some funny little YouTube videos and Scott Adams on YouTube and having a nice 2 cups of coffee and just really, really taking in the morning to wake up fully. So, yeah. Henry Thune says, you're young. I'm 47. Yeah, I'm like a year younger than you. But yeah, I do. That is one thing I'm so grateful to God for, that I can have control of my schedule. You know what I mean? As a self-employed artist, it is nice. I remember working for other people, and you're on their time, man. You are on their time, and you got to do what they say, and that is not as good. But with great power comes great responsibility. So, as Spider-Man teaches us. So, although I work for myself and I can do whatever I want, I don't just do whatever I want, because that doesn't get you very far in life. So, I think for someone who's self-employed, an artist, get up rather early. 7:30, 8 o'clock, I think is pretty early for an artist who's self-employed. You know, and yeah, because I just don't want to be doing this until 11 at night. And that can happen real easily. Because I am committed to getting at least one page drawn every day, and if you start late enough, you're going to be out in your office till 11 at night, and that isn't fun. I did that for many years, and I don't want to live that way anymore. It's my life. But yeah, I think Henry says, I wish I worked for myself making comics. I'm in the office right now. I'm only free now because a server's down and I can't use my tools. That stinks. Well, Henry, you don't have to wish you were a self-employed comic book artist and writer. Just start working on it. Like your goals, my goals, your goals, you've achieved things in your life, I'm certain. So you understand it's a mountain to climb, and you can't have it in one day, but you can have it eventually. And here's the thing about eventually: the time that you would have spent practicing and working and networking and honing your skill to write or draw, whatever you want to do in comics, that time's going to pass anyway, Henry. Let's say it's going to take you 7 years to get to where I am, and you want to be writing and drawing your own. Okay, well, the 7 years I guarantee you are going to happen. Do you want it? Because you can have it. It might take years. Or you can just keep living and not having it. Now, do I know you, your money, your family, your circumstances, your health, your whatever? No. So it's real easy to say, just do it. But for me, like, there's no other way. I have to do what I want to do for a living. I have to. Like, I couldn't, I worked construction. I worked in a cardboard box factory. I worked at a newspaper printing, not a factory, but a newspaper, like the factory side where we're stacking and printing the newspapers. I've driven a forklift, crashed a forklift into the wall of a warehouse. That wasn't good. I'll tell you how that happened. That's a funny story. Remind me in a second here. I've done it all. I've done all the blue collar. I was a carpenter. I was tilt up construction, building giant concrete warehouses. I've done so many things, but I never quit working on being an artist as much as I could in my free time. I went to college. I got the graphic arts visual design degree, learned to work better there. And then I took any job I could get, little low paying, almost free art jobs, because I knew that if you just added it all up over the years, it would add up to this. See, there is no one thing you do to become this. There's a million little things, and little things are easy to do. What's hard to do is to do a million little things and stay consistent. That's what's hard to do. But again, I always look at it as like, hey, man, the years of my life to get this goal, they were going to go by anyway. So I might as well do it, even though it's really going to suck sometimes. There was a point there where I had 3 jobs, a wife, 2 children, and worked no, not full time, about 30 hours a week at Home Depot. And I was a full-time college student. Getting straight A's, by the way, in college. Now, I was an art major, and I was already a professional artist when I was in college, so it was very easy for me to get straight A's because I was good at art. But, I even got A's in math and my other classes in college. So, yeah, again, to me, it's like, well, what else are you going to do with your life, right? You're going to give it to them, these horrible business owners that don't give a shit about you. They don't care about Henry, man. They'll get rid of you as soon as they can blink if they need to. I'm not saying anything about you. They do that to anyone, and you know it, dude. You know it. That's how they are. It's what's best for them, dude. It's cutthroat. So I say, in the non-evil, selfish, hurt other people way, let me make that disclaimer, put yourself first. Not in a way that hurts others. That's evil. Don't put yourself first to hurt others to gain. Put yourself first as far as being responsible for yourself. Like, I'm Henry. This is my goal, damn it. And I'm going to get it, and I'm going to do what Henry needs to do to get what I need. You're more than capable. I'm certain of it. I don't even need to know you to know that. So that would be my encouragement to you today. And like, well, how do I start it? How do I do it? It's such a big goal. One step at a time. I know that sounds easy and perhaps flippant, but it is the truth. It's the only way to look at everything in life. What is the step I need to do today to get my goal? I don't have to live this life that someone else prescribed for me. This is my life, damn it. You don't believe in me? Get the hell away from me. That's what I think. Anyone that's not in my fan club and cheering me on and believes I can do it, get out of here. We don't do that around here. Now, we don't do feel-good bullshit. We don't do, oh, yeah, everything positive, blah, 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 no bad. No, it's tough. They're hard, horrible things in life. Horrible things in life. But it doesn't mean we don't fight, Doesn't mean we don't reach and fight for what we want. There's no guarantee it'll happen. But there is a guarantee it won't happen if you don't try, right? Let's see. Kara says, when I am debt-free, I'll travel more, maybe a freelance photographer. So are you more freelance? I think she's talking to Henry, me. Henry says, yeah, I'm really busy. I started a script on one comic and doing art on another. I did some art on the other day, and it was the first time I was able to since last November. Not true. This is tough love, Henry. Not true. You've had time. You know it. I know. When you're on the phone, scrolling your phone, right? Because we all do it. We all do it a couple hours a day. Let's be honest. That's wasted time. You do it. I do it. We got to quit it. And you have more time. Love Henry. That's what you got to love Henry in the right way, not the Oprah selfish way. You got to love Henry and say, I am worth it. I am worth the work. I am worth achieving this. I am worth the years it's going to take. And even if you draw one character a day, like you have a comic book page and it takes you a month to draw the whole page, whereas it takes me 5 hours, that's okay. Just get it done. But work on it every day. Even if it's all you have is 20 minutes because you got kids and bills and work and, you're folding laundry. Give yourself 20 minutes. That 20 minutes you would have been dicking around on the phone, give it to Henry. You got one life, baby, and then it's gone forever, and you don't get it back. And you're never going to, me and you, we're not going to be on that deathbed as old men going, I wish I'd scrolled Twitter more and looked at some asinine argument. You're never going to say that. You're never going to say that, right? And neither am I. So yeah, drop that stuff because that's a waste. It's a horrible habit that we all have to break. And yeah, time is the one thing you can't get more of. So give yourself more. Give yourself more of what you need. What you need to be is you, because nobody is better at being you than you. You are the best Henry Thune that there is, because you are the only Henry Thune that there is. So you're better at being him than anyone else. That's an advantage you have over everyone. No one can outdo you at being you. So be you and be who you want to be. If you want to be a comic book artist, guess what? You're one today then. You become one this afternoon. Say, I am a man that writes this stuff and draws it every day, even if it's for 10 minutes. That's enough to count. If that's all you can give it, then that's all you can give it. You know, when people say give it your all, that might not be a lot. Your conditions in life might not allow you to do a lot, but they don't make it so you do nothing. That I refuse to believe. You know, so give it a little bit more, and just realize that over time it's going to pay off huge. And not doing it always saying, oh, when this happens, I'll do this. When this happens, I'll do that. Jump, rip the Band-Aid off. As Nike famously said, going back to the late 80s, early 2000s, just do it. They couldn't have been more right about that in the approach to life. Just do it. You know, how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you make a comic? How do you make an independent movie? How do you make a new song or a record album? You just do it. That's how you do it. You know, you think the people that like succeed, you think all of them, their dad runs Warner Brothers or something? No one in my family was a professional artist before me that I know of. My grandparents ran a restaurant. My uncle was a lawyer. My aunt was a piano teacher. That's an artist. My mom was a regular school teacher. My dad's a chef. It's sort of an artist. I didn't have some in at DC Comics or Warner Brothers. You know, I just said, nah, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to keep going until it happens. You know, I told the universe, if you want to stop me, you're going to have to kill me, because I'm not going to stop me. So that's the only way to stop me. And that's the understanding I have about it. So yeah, all this waiting till, well, when I save a little more money, or when I move to the new city, or when I break up with so-and-so, or whatever, that's bullshit that we all tell ourselves to avoid having to jump. And there's never going to be a moment where it feels ready. Because let's say you're like, oh, well, when I save $50,000, then I'll blah, blah, blah. You know what's going to happen? You're going to save $50,000 and it's still not going to feel right, because it wasn't the money that was bothering you. Or when I do this, or when I graduate that, or when I do, that's not really what it is. That's a rationalization your brain is giving to protect you. And it's giving it to protect you from failure. The concept of, well, if it doesn't work, then you just feel devastated, and you shouldn't. I've tried things and they haven't worked. And you know what I did? I just tried something else. And if that doesn't work, I just tried something else. And and I guarantee you that will happen. I guarantee you that what you try will not work. Not every time. But over time, everything you do will add up to something. That's what you got to understand about that. So don't worry about, Henry Thune put out his independent comic and 10 people bought it. So what? Fucking make another one. So what, dude? The first comics I did great right out the gate. At my university in Northern Colorado, I wrote and drew like a Garfield kind of like comedy newspaper strip. And all I did there for 2 years is win every award under the sun, the most prestigious awards you can win for that kind of work. Now, was it a great success? Critically, financially, it was not a success at all, because I got paid $10 a strip, dude. About 3 hours of work to make a strip, to draw it, think of the joke, letter it, put it in the computer, drive it over to the I hate these spam calls. You know, the calls that say they're from your neighborhood, but you don't know the number? I get about 3 or 4 a day, and they're always the same fucking time. Let's just hang up on them. My wife told me to start blocking them. I'm like, oh yeah, start blocking the numbers, right? I got paid $10 a strip. That is not a success, but it is a part of the success. Picture your success like a road. You live in Muncie, Indiana, and you want to get to Chicago. Can you get there? Yes. Get a map out and get in your car and start driving. But I'm not there the minute I push the gas. Yeah, no shit. It's going to take time. That's exactly how your goals are. It's just driving from point A to point B. That's all your goals are, dude. And anyone can do it. There's this weird stuff that everyone is kind of taught, like this slave peasant mentality they want you to have of, Oh, don't dream too big. No, that's not for you. An artist, why don't you get a real job? That's all loser think. That's what losers say. Two kinds of people are going to tell you that, and very few are going to tell you what I'm telling you. The kind of people that are going to tell you that you shouldn't be an artist and this, that, and the other are failures themselves, and they resent the concept of anyone else trying because it shames them, or manipulative, evil, powerful, like rich people who don't want you to see that you're free and you can go do your own thing. So either way, the people telling you you cannot are that's evil. The intention is always evil there. It's either losers, and you don't need to listen to losers because all losers can tell you how to do is lose, or it's people who want to keep controlling you and have you working at their horrible companies where they underpay you and overwork you. You know, if you go and look at the data of the American worker and how exploited they are, how taken advantage of they are psychologically, where they're afraid to ask for a damn day off, afraid to take a sick day. I've heard of some companies like if so-and-so gets a cold, they got to bring in a doctor's note. Are you out of your fucking mind? I'm so glad I work for myself. I would never agree to something like that. Like, no, if someone's got a sniffle, you don't bring a doctor's note. You're an adult. Get out of here. That is so insulting. You sure you weren't just home playing Nintendo? It's like, even if I was, that's my business, you jackass. But no, they don't pay you enough to treat you that way. That's insane. And if you're driving to a job every day through traffic that you hate to a job you can't stand, this is your one life. Stop it. Now, can you quit your job tonight? No, you probably don't have the money for it, and that's fine. Most people don't, but you can get out of there. You absolutely can get out of there eventually, and you're never going to get out of there until you start working. The Shawshank Redemption, great movie, right? Written by horrible human being, talented writer, but horrible human being, Stephen King. He digs out of that prison cell with a spoon. Now, he doesn't do it in an afternoon. He does it over the course of a long time. And there's a sexy lady poster. I don't remember who's on the poster, some actress. And behind the poster, he scrapes a little bit of dirt, fills his pocket or whatever. And then when he goes out in the yard for, yard time in the prison, he shakes his pant leg, throws his pencil on the ground like I did. He shakes his pant leg and dumps the dust on the ground. And he does that for, is it years? Or it's at least a year. It's a long time. But every day he gets a couple spoons of dirt. That's your success. Every day, Henry Thune gets a couple spoons of dirt. And then he's on an island with Morgan Freeman and a bag of stolen cash or whatever they did. I saw the movie a long time ago. Vernon Hampton, Raquel Welch, a legend. Oh, Raquel Welch, graduate of La Jolla High School, which is right by my house. I will not dox myself. You can't, I'm not saying that, but I live in the vicinity. La Jolla is the most beautiful part of San Diego, which is San Diego's most beautiful city in the world. But Raquel Welch is, she's a graduate of La Jolla High. So there you go. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna check the chat and then get out of here because it's noon, baby. Go to bigmancomics.com. Get Dean Cain, All-American Lawman, Volume 1. It is the best, most rip-roaring action adventure you're gonna find. I'm gonna show you an image of that really quick. Freelance. I'm going through my folders here. Freelance work. Dean Cain. It's funny I call it freelance work, even though I'm the owner of the company. So it's not really freelance work. But that's the folder I've had on my computer for like 20 years. It's called freelance. And that's where I would put everything for all the companies I worked for. JPEGs. I'll just pick a random block of pages here. Quick look. Open with preview. Okay, here's some random pages from Dean Cain, All-American Lawman. Run out and get this right now, guys. Present. Share screen. And Empyrean is practically done. Colors are supposed to be done this week. The minute colors are done, I'll letter the book. Lettering the book will take about a week. And then designing the book will take 1 day. That's prepping it for the printer. And then it's out to print. Look at this. We put in the Indiana Jones map. Flying down to Mazatlan, Mexico. There's Dean and his buddy. I'm not going to give away too much of the story for those of you who haven't read it. But it is awesome. Here's a flashback sequence. He's saying bye to his boy. This guy, this private military contractor kind of guy's going to watch his son while he's out of town. Look at this, diving into Mexico. They flew a little bit later. It got a little bit darker. The sunset's coming over the horizon, but it's night. I love that effect that they're flying up so high, right? That the sunset is coming from far away, but you could also have the night sky too at the same time. He dives down into Mazatlan, Mexico, and it's just gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. And then we cut to the nightclub the Orchid Club, where Veronica Muro is singing, and she's a big figure in this book. She ends up being the femme fatale sort of sidekick with our buddy Chris Tanaka, the main character. This is El Chulo, a man with this horribly disfigured face. He's an enforcer for the big gangster Ming. And this is a real Catholic church that is in Mazatlan. I visited this building. So I visited it like a year before I wrote this book, and I really loved the city of Mazatlan, Mexico. So I wrote it into the thing where some real subtle, some cloak and dagger spy stuff goes on. He meets a guy who's a priest, but he's also giving Dean, or I guess Chris Tanaka, some information about where he has to go to find the bad guys. But there's an assassin there, so we have a shootout inside the church and a slobber knocker, knockdown, drag out fight. It's really fun. This is a great book. You're going to love it. This is a scene where he has to run from the authorities and change his clothes. He goes into a tourist shop to get some different clothes so he can hide from the authorities who are after him after that scene in the church. Henry Thurman says, speaking of work, I have to leave for a meeting. Have a great day. God bless. All right, Henry, work on your book. What movie for Double Impact this week? Kara says it's going to be Friday with Ice Cube and Chris Tucker. Let's see. Henry Rollins' definition of punk. Just do it. Gabe getting me pumped up over here. That's what I do. Did you make your own brushes, or is that package available somewhere? The brush, I use one brush only to ink. It's the Clayton Henry ink. Clayton, let me see what it's called. Clayton Henry's an artist. I colored some of his work. He works for Marvel and DC. I colored him at Valiant. Clayton Henry Ink Bleed. I think it's $5 on his Gumroad. Look for Clayton Henry. I think on Instagram you find him pretty easy. He's a great illustrator. And he sold it on his Gumroad. I bought it 3 years ago for $5. It's a great brush. What are your thoughts on so much hero versus hero battle in comics? I think that's boring. When Wolverine runs into Batman, I know that's different universes, but you know what I mean. And they're like, boring. I have a bachelor's and master's in history. I keep finding out not qualified or rejected. So it's like Dean Cain said, if you persist, you'll be successful. Yeah. The thing about persisting is you are persisting. But you might be persisting in bad ways if you don't focus and persist in good ways. But either way, you're building a little something every day. And if you don't watch it, then you're building something bad. So make sure you pay attention to what you're building. Dude, I appreciate the great advice. My pleasure. My pleasure, my treasure. Kara says, it's definitely one of the best comic books I've ever read. As I told Dean, I couldn't put it down. Read it at work. Need something to do while watching Finding Nemo 5 times Spanish. Horrible. Good afternoon, Gabe and chat. But Antonius, you're late. We started an hour ago and we're leaving. We just do an hour every morning from 11 to noon. So I am out of here. Go to bigmancomics.com. Get Dean Cain, All-American Lawman. Follow me on X on Big Man Comics. Here on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, I'm Gabe Eltaeb. You see it, I'll spell it over there. Oh, no, we have Antonius' name on the screen. Now you see how to spell. Last name is a little tricky. Pay attention how to spell that correctly. Follow me everywhere online. Hit the like, hit the share. We'll be back tomorrow from 11 to noon. Wednesday night, 7 p.m. for the movie Friday with Ice Cube. 11 to noon, Thursday and Friday. But Friday's the special Datitude show with Jericho Green. And we will talk to you guys later. Adios.